this video, I'll be sharing a comprehensive guide on how to create realistic material for your hot surface modeling using Blender node setup. Don't worry if you're new to Blender node setup. By the end of this video, you will not only understand the process but also enjoy it. I'll break down each node in a simple and easy to follow manner, making it accessible to everyone. If you're still interested, keep watching this tutorial. Choosing the right color for your 3D model can make or break its overall look. If you use the wrong color, it's like baking a cake with ketchup and pickle. So, here my suggestion for beginners. Don't pick more than 3 colors. Yes, you heard that right, 3. This will help you create a cohesive look and avoid visual overload. Now, here's a simple rule of thumb to follow. Allocate 50 to 60% of your primary color, 30 to 40% of your secondary color, and only 5 to 10% of your highlight color. This will create a beautiful balance and harmony in your model. Now let's talk about why this 50-30-10 rule is important. When you use too many colors, your model can start to look like a unicorn vomit all over. Yeah, it's that bad. So how do you choose the perfect combination? Well, let me give a few color combinations that looks powerful. Blue and white, beige and black, olive green and black or gray, red and gold, blue and gold, yellow and black, white and gray. And that's a wrap for chapter 1. Remember, the world of color combination is vast and exciting. Take inspiration from other artists and explore different palettes to find what works best for you. One versatile color that's paired with many others is black. It's a timeless classic. Now that we laid the foundation of harmonious color combination, it's time to take your material to the next level. In the upcoming chapters, we'll dive into the world of realism by introducing noise and surface imperfection. Get ready to add depth and character to a 3D model. In hot surface modeling, imperfections plays a vital role in adding realism to your model. A flawless, pristine surface can appear unnatural and uninspiring. By incorporating subtle imperfection, you can create a more authentic and captivating appearance. Before we dive into setting up our notes, a quick note. If you are short on time or prefer a one-click solution for surface imperfections, feel free to skip ahead to chapter 5. However, for those who are eager to learn the in and outs of Blender node setup, let's proceed. We'll explore the power of node and how to harness them to add depth and character to your model. Here I have my BSDF shader node with few adjustment on color, metallic and roughness value. Now let's enable the node Wrangler add-on to preview our node setup. We'll add dirt imperfection by duplicate the BSDF shader and changing its color to a darker value. This will represent the dirt. To combine the original BSDF shader and the dirt BSDF, we'll need a mix shader node. Notice that 2 connecting sockets. We'll plug the both BSDF shader into the shader input and then connect the mix shader to the surface. If we decrease the factor to 0, the dirt BSDF will be eliminated, and if I increase to max, the base color will be removed. To clarify, let's add RGB color node and connect them to the factor. The black value represents our base color while the white value represents the dirt color. Instead of mixing color, we want to introduce noise to affect the dirt color. So we'll add a noise texture node. To preview its effect, hold shift and control and click on the texture node. You'll see the noise distribute across the model, but it's uneven. To fix this, we'll add a mapping node. Select the noise texture node and press shift control T to add the mapping node. By default, it sets to UV, but we'll change it to object to evenly distribute the noise. Now recall our previous discussion. The white areas will be representing the noise. Where should we connect the noise texture? If you answered factor, tap on your shoulder. You're right. So when we connect into factor, the black and white values are represent our BSDF shader. It appears like a dirt. To add more or less contrast, we will add a color ramp node between node and mix shader. If we move the black slider all the way to the right side, our base color visible more. And if you move the white value to the all the way left side, the dirt effect more. By bringing the both sliders to each other, the noise are sharp and crisp. The more space that the slider have, the more noise blend and gives smooth texture. In our case, we don't want to move it too far or too close. Something like this is fine. Right now the noise looks blurry and low resolution. To make it more realistic, increase the detail value to max, which is 15, and increase the roughness value to 0.7 or 0.6 for better result. So that's it for adding a small level of dirt to your model. Let's see how to add ultra realistic scratch imperfection in the next chapter. Let's create a realistic scratch texture using minimal node. First, duplicate the BSDF shader and change its color to white. Decrease the roughness to 0.2, as scratch areas often appears glossy. Next, add a mix shader and connect both BSDF shader to it. Instead of creating a scratch, let's use a pre-made scratch texture. You can find the texture in this video description. Add an image texture node and open the scratch texture. I'm using this roughness map for my material. Our method involves using black areas for the base color and white areas for the imperfection. I hope you all remember the process. If you preview the image texture node, you will see the sample texture. However, the texture appears uneven, so let's actually add a mapping node and change it to object. Unfortunately, the material won't work, so let's introduce the concept of UV unwrapping. UV unwrapping is a process of unwrapping a 3D model surface into a 2D plane and applying a texture or image to the model surface. It's a complex topic, but if you guys are interested in learning more about UVs, let me know in the comment section. But don't worry if you are not familiar with UV. We have an alternative solution called Smart UV Project, which automatically UV unwrap our model. You can enable it by pressing U in the UV tab and select Smart UV Project. Now, connect the texture color to the mix shader factor and re-enable the shader node. Our base scratch texture is complete, but to achieve a realistic look, connect the color to the scratch texture material roughness. We are adding it to the duplicated BSDF shader because connecting it to the original shader make the base color appears too shiny and unnatural. Scratch areas should look shinier than the painted coat areas. A simple logic. However, we have another problem here. The scratch area will deform and feel roughness. Just imagine if you are just rubbing your fingers on the scratch areas. You can feel the bumps. I hope you all related to what I mean. So let's add a bump node, connect the noise texture to the height and normal to the normal. This will add a realistic aspect to our model. The bump value seems too high, so let's reduce it to 0.2. We almost just add another image texture. This time choose the metallic map and connect the color to the metallic socket. This is how you can create a stunning realistic scratch imperfection to your model. Hope you all learned something new. Let's move on to the next chapter. Let's dive into edge masking. This technique involves subtracting sharp edges from our model and separating them with a distinct color and noise. I'll show the most effective and easiest node setup you ever find. First, we need a light color material to separate the sharp edges. So duplicate the BSDF shader and change its color to something a light value. Then mix the node using a mix shader node. The same process. Now here's the crucial part. We use a bevel node to subtract the sharp lines. Basically, a bevel node is a shader node that renders round corner on geometry without changing the actual geometry. Something similar to a bump node. We don't want to bevel the edges, so the default value is fine. Duplicate the bevel node and connect them using a mix color node. Set the color to difference. This will help you to isolate the edges. To add realism, plug in the imperfection texture into the bevel radius. This will give our edge a scratchy imperfection. If you need, add a map range node between the bevel and image texture. Slightly play around with minimum and maximum values until it's matched perfect. Add a color ramp node to gain more control over contrast and density. Bring the sliders close together for optimal result. That's it. Remember, when using image texture on complex shape, ensure you UV unwrap the model. Alternatively, use the noise texture instead of image texture. Alright, welcome to the final chapter of our tutorial series. So far we learned how to add stunning realistic texture using nodes and image texture. How about adding an imperfection by just a single click? So there is an add-on exists called Grungit. You can download the add-on from this video description, which is completely free. Once you install the add-on, press N to see the add-ons menu. Here you have a lot of options like choosing the types of imperfection, choosing the resolution. So choose your settings and apply the Grungit. Within a few seconds, this will quickly add a realistic texture to your material. Experiment with different settings and options in Grungit to achieve unique imperfection. My favorite part of this add-on is the reapply UV mapping feature. This game-changing option automatically unwraps your model, allowing you to apply imperfection with ease. You now hold the secret to create mind-blowing realistic model that leaves the competition in the dust. So go forth and imperfect your world. My work is done. Now it's your time to shine. Remember, the key to become an exceptional artist lies not just in learning, but in practice. You now hold the secrets to unlock stunning realism, embrace imperfection. Get messy and bring your 3D model to real life. Thanks for joining me on the texturing journey. If you liked this video, give a thumbs up and comment your feedback.